Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of correlation and regression, we will be considering the price development so far to help us figure out the opportunities as we are gearing the North American trading session. So let us now head to the JForex 4, the newly released trading platform from the Dukascopy Bank SA. This is the EURUSD chart where we are seeing the mixed movement. We don't really have a strong movement on either side. In today's session, the range has been broader if we compare it to the last few days, but even in this larger range, we don't really have clarity on directional basis. The markets are not strongly bullish or bearish. These are simply consolidation circumstances where we have to trade using these range, and if we use the correlational aspects we will have the higher probability of making money than ending up in losses. So let us now consider this chart for the euro usd. If we consider this larger time frame charting, the momentum has been bearish with this formation of lower lows and lower highs. Even in this week, after the start on Monday, where we saw these open closer to this Friday's high, but since then we have seen the Euro USD losing around 70 pips from these week's high, and even now it is not really far off from these days low, though there has been some correction from these lower levels, and the medium term outlook remains bearish. We are pretty much likely to see the Euro USD dipping toward this last week's low of 1.06 or even below that in coming sessions of this week. For immediate opportunities, if we look at the Euro USD chart, it is now in middle of the range. It has corrected almost 20 to 30 pips from these lower levels, but it is neither bullish, and even if we have to go for a short sell trade here, we will have to be careful as we don't really have a strong movement on bearish side either. Rather than that, we will have to look for the instruments which are having much more clarity in terms of the price action. Let's consider what's happening in USDJPY. For USDJPY, the day has been mixed with this formation of lower lows. If we look at the start, it started the day closer to 135, and from there on it has corrected more than 50 pips. Even now the momentum is tilted on the bearish side. If we don't really see the USDJPY climbing beyond this 134.7 level, the immediate swing high is going to be important. And if we see for next couple of hours the USDJPY holding closer to this immediate range and slightly starting to tilt on the lower side, we can indeed go for the initiation of the new sell trade with the expectation of a dip below this immediate swing low. The levels towards 134 can be expected later in the day or in next couple of sessions. So that possibility remains strong as JPY has been one of the most bullish instrument in today's session against the US dollar. And if we look at the other instrument, as we saw the euro has been bearishly inclined, but if we look at the JPY, it has consolidated but with slight bullish bias. So as a result of that, USDJPY has been making these lower lows and lower highs. So we can clearly see that the JPY is much more bullish in comparison to the euro while trading against the US dollar. Let's see how things are shaping up for the other major currencies. The AUD, Australian dollar, has seen sharp moves in today's session. After this economic release for the Australia, we saw the sharp spike on the downside of around 30-35 pips, and after that it mainly remained bearish till the mid of the European trading session. But in last hour we saw this sharp move on the higher side, though the movement wasn't really sustained. So that makes it much difficult to trade in the AUD USD. as it is not really able to sustain these moves on either side, and that puts it in a twilight zone. We will have to trade carefully in the AUD. It is not that strongly bullishly inclined as we saw for the JPY, and it is not looking bearish as is the case with the euro. So it is going to fall in between these euro and the JPY while trading against the US dollar. So it is better overlooked, and we will do well to go for the trade where there is much more clarity in terms of the directional movement. If we consider the USD GBP USD, it is also making these lower lows and lower highs, but it has corrected quite a lot since the low was formed at 1.26, and since then it has climbed up around 50 to 60 pips. So we can't really go for a short sale trade at these current levels. Rather than that, we will have to wait it out, and if we see fresh moves on the higher side, maybe we will have to even change our outlook from bearish to bullish. But since there is not much clarity here in a case of GBP USD, we will have to wait. And if we see further moves beyond 1.212, only in that case, after due consolidation, we will be in a position to look for the long trades. But till then, we should keep a watch and see how things shape up for the remaining part of today's trading session. Let's consider the NZD, New Zealand dollar. It moves more or less in line with the price formation of the AUD, its Asia Pacific pair, and similar price moves are also seen in the case of AUD. But for the NZD, the moves have been quite strong. It is looking as bullish as JPY. Let's see. For the USDJPY, the moves were quite strong, around half a percentage point. For NZD, the movement has been substantial, even more than half a percentage point. So in terms of the price moves, the magnitude is quite good. So we will have to keep a eye on the NZD USD's price moves also, and I think a long trade can indeed be initiated if we see the NZD USD starting to climb towards this immediate swing high, but it has corrected from these higher levels. So if we compare it to the USD JPY, I think for the USD JPY, the correction is shallower in comparison to the NZD. So we will have to put the NZD behind the JPY, not ahead of it in terms of its bullish outlook while trading against the US dollar. Now we will have to invert the scale and consider USDCAD, USDCHF, and USDJPY. The USDCAD has seen this half a percentage point downward decline, and since then it has been consolidating, but it has also corrected significantly from these lower levels. So it is not looking that strongly inclined on the lower side. So we will have to trade carefully, trade cautiously in case of the USD CAD. We have much better momentum in USD JPY, and even NZD USD is looking better placed in comparison to the USD CAD. USDCHF is trading contrary to the USD CAD and USD JPY. Here we have CHF, which is looking bearish. So as a result of that, the USD CHF has been making higher highs and higher lows for today's trading session. Earlier in the day, it was looking strong with this low being made at 0.9253. But after that, it changed its price direction, and here we have the consolidation with these buyers on the bullish side for the USDCHF. So these are instrument where we can go for a long trade in the US dollar. If you expect the US dollar to remain strong and make further gains in the North American trading session, then USDCHF is one such instrument where you can keep an eye and see if the optimum optimum trade can be taken. Let's consider with Euro USD. For the euro, the outlook has been bearish, but it is looking less bearish in comparison to the CHF. So if we compare the USD CHF is looking as one of the most bearish currency in today's session while trading against the US dollar, and JPY is the most bullish currency in trading against the US dollar. So here we have this whole spectrum of possibilities with these mixed trading signals coming in from different major currencies. So we will have to trade accordingly while using these correlational aspects so that we can optimize our trading positioning and minimize our losses while trying to maximize the profit. Now let's consider the equity segment. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has traded in a extended range around half a percentage point in today's trading session. So these are the price moves of consolidation on the lower side after the substantial decline seen in yesterday's session, where we saw the price decline of around 2 percentage point, and after that this consolidation is ongoing on these lower levels around 33,000. So far it has been able to hold the 33,000 level, but I think we are likely to see the Dow Jones Industrial Average again climbing, not climbing, it is actually likely to decline towards this low, and we can even expect these 33,000 level to be breached in today's session itself. So that possibility remains strong as we haven't really seen strong moves on these lower levels from the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and as a result of that we can expect these further moves as there is absence of buyers on these lower levels, and this consolidation, it has seen only a shallow correction from these lower levels, so that solidifies our outlook again. Now let's compare it to the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. The price formation is more or less similar. There is not much of a difference. In terms of the magnitude, the Nasdaq's decline is more than 2 percentage point. For the S&P 500, the decline is slightly less than 2 percentage point, and it is similar for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So in terms of the magnitude, the Nasdaq is leading in this fall. It tends to be more volatile. So if you want to go for the trade just on the basis of its increased volatility, you can go for Nasdaq as the first preference. But first we will need the Nasdaq to again make a fresh swing low below this 12,030 level after the start of North American trading session, after the start of US trading session. And if we see a fresh low being made, and then from those lows, if there is not much of an correction on the higher side, and after an hour or two of consolidation, we can indeed go for a new trade while expecting the breach below 12,000. So that possibility is quite strong. But first, we will have to see how things shape up after the start of the US session, and if we see increased volatility with bias on the bearish side in initial few minutes of the US session, then we will have further confirmation in place, and we can indeed go for a trade with the expectations of further bearish move in today's trading session. So that's my outlook looking at these current price formation for these three key equity indices for the US. And if you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. So thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous day ahead. See you next time around tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.